Coming up on KOTA Territory News at 5:30 with spring coming up. That also means more road work. We have an overview of the work being done here in Rapid City. A robbery at a North Rapid City gas station has police looking for the public's help in finding the suspect. And the state budget is signed for next year. We'll take a look at that and one proposal the governor made this morning. Your news starts now.
From Skyline Drive, this is KOTA Territory News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Jack Cottle. It was veto day in Pierre, and the legislature failed to override Governor Rhoden's veto of a bill that would have made it more difficult to get constitutional amendments on the ballot. Governor Rhoden also signed the state's fiscal year 2026 $7+ billion budget into law. The co-chair of the Joint Committee on Appropriations, Representative Mike Derby, says lawmakers this year started out with previous Governor Kristi Noem's budget, which included $80 million in ongoing cuts.
We were able to restore about $7.5 million of those cuts for various enterprises within the system, including South Dakota Public Broadcasting, the State Library, and the list goes on and on.
Derby says this is the 136th consecutive year of a balanced budget, which allows the state to keep a AAA bond rating. Rhoden commented on the budget last week, saying he was proud of the state's fiscal responsibility. The budget for fiscal year 2026 is just shy of $7.3 billion. Governor Rhoden has rolled out his latest proposal to fight rising property taxes. KOTA Territory's Blake Trolley reports from Pierre.
The governor rolling out his latest tax proposal, this time giving counties a new option to tackle the issue. Rhoden's proposal would allow counties to enact their own sales tax of up to 0.5% to reduce the county portion of property taxes. The reduction for homeowners would be achieved through a homeowner tax credit. Any excess funds raised would go towards alleviating ag and commercial property taxes. Rhoden telling reporters once again that he wanted to take a rifle shot approach to property taxes.
We had, I think, over 20 pieces of legislation dealing with property tax relief. In my view, the problem with most of those bills, they were proposing a statewide solution to a 5-county problem.
Rhoden briefed Republican leaders about his proposal on Sunday night. The governor said he thought the idea provided lawmakers a sense of relief, as his idea provides substance for an upcoming study on property taxes.
And I understand that. I've been in their shoes for 16 years. You organize a task force, and I've led task force or summer study committees, and you find yourself, at a loss for coming up with a starting point.
State Representative Mike Derby says the proposal is a good starting point.
I want to applaud Governor Rhoden for actually putting something on the table. A lot of time, it's a lot easier to look at and poke holes into something when you have actually something to start with.
The property tax study has yet to have a date decided. In Pierre, Blake Trolley, KOTA Territory News.
The gloomy weather from this weekend has carried into the start of the week. Are we expecting any clearing? Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is here to let us know. I know it's spring, but with that wind out there, felt more like winter this morning.
Yeah, there was a chill in the air, Jack, and the cold air stuck around for the weekend. We have temperatures in the 30s and 40s now, and that wind is still swirling. We have that flag here on our Golden West weather camera at Granite Automotive showing that southerly wind pushing strong still. Our temperatures are in the 30s up towards Shade Hill, Ekalaka, into Custer and Pine Ridge, right as well. 40s for many others. It's feeling colder with those winds anywhere from 10 to 25 miles per hour across western South Dakota. The strongest winds are around Sturgis and up towards Buffalo. And those winds will be a bit breezy tonight. We do have some moisture getting ready to move into parts of KOTA Territory, and there's some lightning with some of these showers passing through eastern Wyoming. We'll be looking at rain and snow showers tonight, but a storm system spinning off the west coast will keep the pattern active and unsettled for the rest of the week with more rain and snow chances. I'll have more details on that coming up for you later on in the show.
Thank you, David. A Rapid City woman facing murder charges from last month's shooting on East North Street pleads not guilty today in 7th Circuit Court. 29-year-old Pam White Butterfly is charged with 1 count of first-degree murder and 1 count of first-degree attempted murder after an incident on February 23rd where White Butterfly allegedly shot Leonard Brown Eyes and another man, killing Brown Eyes and leaving the other critically injured. If convicted of first-degree murder, White Butterfly faces either the death penalty or life in prison without parole. parole. She's being held on a $2 million bond, and her next hearing is set for May 15th. A correctional officer accused of having sexual contact with an inmate at the Pennington County Jail is in federal court in Rapid City this morning. Weston Betelyoun admitted to engaging in a sexual act with a federal inmate at the Pennington County Jail in July of 2023, pleading guilty to sexual abuse of a ward. Betelyoun faces up to 15 years in prison when he's sentenced on June 18th, but as part of his plea agreement, federal prosecutors agreed to recommend a probationary sentence for Betelyoun. Rapid City police are looking for a man who robbed the Yes Way convenience store on Haynes Avenue around 3 this morning. The store clerk said a man with a mask over his face brandished a handgun and demanded money. The clerk gave the suspect an undisclosed amount of cash. Police say the suspect wore a black jacket, black stocking cap, and a black face mask. They're working to recover video and images from the area to aid in the investigation. Anyone with information about the robbery or the suspect can call police investigations at 605-394-4134. An anonymous tip can also be submitted by texting the letters RCPD and the information to 847-411. Two 18-year-olds accused of breaking into a Rapid City home and starting a fire were back in court today, along with a victim whose house burned down. Carlito Jumping Eagle and Julian Wright were two of the three men arrested back in October on charges of first-degree arson and burglary, accused of breaking into a Rapid City home and starting a fire before fleeing out of a broken window when police arrived. The pair pleaded guilty to second-degree arson last month. Wright was granted 4 years probation at today's hearing, and Jumping Eagle had his sentencing moved to April 28th. The third man involved had separate court proceedings due to him undergoing a mental competency evaluation. The victim, whose house was burned down, attended today's hearing and audibly showed his frustration directed at Wright's sentence of probation, saying, quote, "You're going to let them walk? Now I'm homeless." The Skyline Drive Stonewall Overlook is typically used to take in the beautiful scenery of the Black Hills. However, on Saturday morning, two drivers used it for something else. A little before 10 a.m. on Saturday, Rapid City police say two cars were seen at the Stonewall Overlook doing burnouts in the parking lot. An officer then went to the overlook after the report was made. Police say due to video covering the area, the drivers who performed the burnouts were contacted and given citations. The silver Honda was then towed after not having proof of insurance. According to Rapid City's municipal code for exhibition driving, anyone found in violation could be guilty of a misdemeanor with a punishment of up to 30 days in jail or a fine up to $100 or both. Although it may not feel like it, spring is here, and that means construction is ramping up again across KOTA territory. While detours and delays can be frustrating, Rapid City officials remind us that we can stay informed with road construction maps, details on specific projects, traffic impacts, and contractor information through the featured content section on the city's website. The content is updated whenever there are changes to construction projects, and Rapid City's communications coordinator, Daryl Shoemaker, said it's a great tool for people to stay in the know.
As a convenient tool for the general public to follow along, and again, just to stay on top of where major projects are. Our engineering division, our public works division monitors that very closely. So if there are any changes to those projects, they also go in and immediately, like for instance, if a project is extended for a time frame, they'll go ahead and update those projects as well.
One of the first big disruptions began today as traffic restrictions start on a stretch of St. Joseph Street in the Halley Park area. The city says the project will impact traffic for about 2 weeks. Still to come on KOTA Territory News at 5:30. We check in the Crew 9 space crew to see how they're adjusting to life after 9 months in space. Plus, we take a look at the number of tariffs set to go into effect this week and how they play into President Trump's larger global strategy. Stay with us. President Trump's tariffs are set to kick in this week. The anticipation has fueled economic uncertainty as consumers brace for price increases on everyday goods. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
He's threatened to use them for months, but this Wednesday, President Trump is set to launch sweeping tariffs in a what countries tariff us, we tariff them approach, dubbing it Liberation Day.
The tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us, meaning they will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America.
The The president's retaliatory tariffs are expected to be passed on to American consumers, increasing the price of everyday goods, including electronics, produce, pharmaceuticals, clothes, and shoes in the coming weeks.
We've seen across every income group, every age, every demographic, every wealth strata, and every party affiliation, a major deterioration in consumer confidence.
By one estimate, the cost of a new car could spike at least $6,000 due to Trump's 25% tariffs on cars and auto imports. Responding to the expected price hikes, Trump said in a phone call with NBC News, quote, "I couldn't care less if they raise prices because people are going to start buying American-made cars." Economists warn it's not that simple.
Even those car makers that are most insulated from tariffs do get some kind of parts from abroad.
The fact is that we're going to sell overall fewer cars, and that means the folks at auto dealerships are going to have less cars to sell, and that's going to mean less jobs.
The tariffs have already impacted the cost of a new home. The National Association of Home Builders says steel and aluminum tariffs have made the cost of building a new house $9,000 more expensive. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Goldman Sachs says the U.S. economy faces a growing risk of a recession as President Trump's trade war threatens to stunt growth, reignite inflation, and increase unemployment. The Wall Street Bank is warning clients and now sees a 35% chance of a recession in the next 12 months, up from 20% previously. Goldman Sachs also anticipates higher inflation and more unemployment. Goldman Sachs still expects the U.S. economy to avoid a downturn, but other forecasters think it's more of a 50-50 call. After a planned 8-day trip to space turned into 9 months, astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore are reflecting on their time in space now that they've returned to Earth. The two arriving off the coast of Florida earlier this month and are now at the Johnson Space Center in Houston. ABC's Jacqueline Lee has more on how they're doing today.
It was a work trip that no one expected. Astronauts Suni Williams and Butch Wilmore sent to the International Space Station for 8 to 10 days last summer, only for it to turn into nearly a year's stay in space, now reflecting on that mission.
So we're not going to look back and say this happened or that and that person's or that issue or that entity's to blame. We're going to look forward and say, what are we going to use our lessons learned from this whole process and make sure that we are successful in the future.
The two performed the first astronaut-crewed flight of Boeing's Starliner capsule last June, but issues with the capsule meant they needed to stay at the station for months. A SpaceX Dragon capsule bringing them back to Earth nearly 2 weeks ago, splashing down off the coast of Florida near Tallahassee.
Pretty honored and humbled by the fact of when we came home, like, wow, there are a lot of people who are interested, very thankful, very amazed that we could hopefully be one positive element to bring people together.
The two have been in Houston undergoing a reconditioning program so that their bodies can adjust back to Earth's gravity, with physical therapy and recovery ahead of them.
We've been back almost 2 weeks now. Actually went out and ran 3 miles yesterday, so I will give myself a little pat on the back. Our trainers are rocking it and getting us ready to get back to help out.
NASA says the two were never technically stranded and could have been taken out in an emergency. Wilmore missing his family while in space, including 2 daughters, one in high school, the other in college. Today, talking about finally seeing them again.
We persevered, and they persevered, and I can tell you, I am very proud of them.
She's thrilled to get back to her family and her beloved dogs.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to hug my husband and hug my dogs, and I'll say that in that order.
Chief Meteorologist David Stradling is tracking the chance for accumulating snow. Find out when and where in your accurate First Alert forecast next.
Now, the First Alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist David Stradling.
As we take a look outside, we're looking towards the Black Hills. This is our Golden West Tower camera up here on Skyline Drive. Yeah, pretty low clouds moving into the Black Hills now. You can't even see Black Elk Peak or anything else in the Custer State Park area at the moment, and that's because we're tracking some moisture moving in. We have 30s and 40s across KOTA territory currently. We're at 43 at the Rapid City Airport, 40 downtown, 32 in Custer, also 32 at Whitetail Peak, but lead right now 40 degrees. Here's a look at First Alert Doppler radar. A few of those showers making making their way towards the Black Hills into Fall River County, and this moisture is going to continue to move our way. This is the disturbance we're watching that passes through this evening and early tonight. That'll move through KOTA territory and areas East River. Now, this disturbance here is really going to get organized up towards northeast South Dakota in terms of snowfall for tomorrow. However, we're going to be watching a few more systems behind it that'll be bringing in that moisture for us as we go into Tuesday night, which could bring us some accumulating snowfall. And here's a look at that strong low pressure system spinning off the west coast. It's going to be responsible for the unsettled weather pattern we have coming up for the week. Hour by hour forecasts will show a few snow showers in the hills. Otherwise, it should be rain showers, maybe mixing in with some wet snowflakes. Shouldn't have too much of an impact overnight tonight. Maybe a dusting up to an inch in the most extreme cases, but we're not expecting much of that. Most likely in the Black Hills or up in the northern portions of Perkins County is where we could see some of the snow accumulations that will be a dusting, maybe up to an inch in the most extreme case. Now for tomorrow, we have a few of those rain showers. We'll have a mix of snow showers as well, but as we notice this weekend, the rain and snow during the daytime hours doesn't really amount to much. This is what we're going to be watching very closely throughout the day on Tuesday. However, Tuesday night, we do notice some of that snow starting to fall, and so without the incoming solar radiation overnight, we are going to be noticing the chance for some accumulating snow across KOTA territory Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. We'll notice those snow showers off and on throughout the day on Wednesday, fairly consistent towards the northern hills. Otherwise, things will calm down for us as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Now, in terms of moisture, we're looking pretty good, anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 of an inch through much of northeast Wyoming and western South Dakota. We will notice some isolated higher amounts towards the northern Black Hills, down into southwestern South Dakota, northeastern South Dakota, and over towards the Bighorn. So we'll have a few spots that do get more moisture, but we'll take anything we can get at this point. In terms of snowfall totals, the highest amounts for Tuesday night into Wednesday, so that's tomorrow night. By Wednesday morning, we could be waking up to some of these snow totals: 3 to 8 inches towards Lead, 2 to 6 in Spearfish, 2 to 5 for Sturgis. Northwest South Dakota, about 1 to 4 inches, along with Carter County and Sundance. About a dusting to 2 inches for Rapid City will be possible. Areas south will likely receive those lower amounts too. Over the next 4 days, we'll keep those temperatures in the 30s and 40s. Unsettled as more rain and snow showers will be possible on Friday. However, warmer temperatures are set to move in towards the middle of the month, which is next week, and below average moisture will also be in the forecast. So we'll have a lot of sunshine to go with that warm weather to make up for this cloudy and cold weather we have now. 30s overnight tonight, rain and snow showers. Tomorrow, highs will be in the 30s and 40s. A few more rain and snow showers, but accumulating snow is possible Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. Northeast Wyoming and the northern hills will keep those temperatures in the 30s and 40s with moisture chances over the next 3 days. And then we'll be noticing that warmer air starting off next week, 63 by Monday.
All right, it's finally back into the 60s. That's a goal for us, I think.
Something to look forward to, Jack.
Absolutely. All right, thank you, David. Still to come on KOTA Territory News, one Black Hills team is getting recognition nationally. After the break, we'll show you who it is and how they felt about the accomplishment. That's up next. One local hockey team got a taste of glory last night in Irvine, California, after capturing its first ever high school 2A national championship. The Rushmore Thunder are bringing home the hardware to the City of Presidents after dismantling the Warriors Hockey Club of Illinois 6-2 in the championship game. Forward Easton Knoll delivered a strong performance with a hat trick. The champions arrived back in Rapid City early this afternoon to thunderous applause and cheers. The championship triumph comes after the club only suffered one loss in the entire season after going 30-1. Thunder head coach Conrad Reeder said Knoll dealt with adversity during the season.
Not a lot of people know he had type 1 diabetes halfway through the year. He lost 35 pounds, went to, and he down to 119 pounds. He was cramping up, didn't know what was going on. He got diagnosed.
One of the players says hearing the final horn go off Sunday night was an amazing feeling.
It means everything to us, to bring this championship back to Rapid. They deserve it. They do so much for us, and yeah, it's just awesome that we could get it done for this town.
Wyatt adds the national tournament was a fun experience for him and his teammates as they took their state title trophy with them to a beach in California. He says they might be taking the national title trophy with them to the lake to celebrate. Now, although the weather here might be cooling off, it's nowhere near as cold as the places the people in our next story are going. That's coming up after the break.
Be sure to tune into KOTA Territory News at 6. We will show you powerful tools smartphones have that can make your life easier.
Using these features has definitely changed accessibility for me.
Plus, we find out where Rapid City's Vision Fund may be going. The details are next at 6 on Fox.
And a crew of 4 passengers is set to travel aboard a SpaceX capsule to the Earth's frigid north and south poles that will mark the first time humans have flown such a mission. Cryptocurrency billionaire Chun Wang will be joined by 3 polar explorers, a Norwegian film director, a German robotics researcher, and an Australian adventurer. The group is slated to lift off from a launch pad in Florida tonight. They're expected to spend 3 to 5 days in space gathering health data before returning home with a splashdown landing off the coast of California. They'll be quite a ways above the poles there, so.
Yeah, quite interesting there.
Yeah.
See what technology we can do nowadays.
Very cool.
Indeed, yeah. Not great flying weather here. At least one of those portal thingies. We're talking rain and snow showers tonight, so you might not want to fly out of these conditions, especially with that there. Airplanes are completely fine, obviously, but those showers are moving into southwest South Dakota and northeast Wyoming. We'll have this passing system more active East River as we go into the day tomorrow, but we are tracking accumulating snow Tuesday night and a Wednesday morning. Highest impacts will be towards the northern hills, but warmer airs in the forecast. 63 Monday.
This will just make us appreciate real spring when it finally comes.
Exactly.
All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks for watching. See you tonight at 10.
Thanks for watching KOTA Territory News, your local news and weather authority.